Hello, graduating class of 2021. My name is Aiden Hutter.
And my name is Dawson Ford. We are this year's MCs.
With reduced class sizes, proof that size does matter, parking issues, and Mr. Marquardt getting a speeding ticket, this year has not been our best.
But there were some good things too, like not having to come to class every day and not having to do exams.
Regardless of our ups and downs, we still graduated, resulting in countless memories.
My favorite memory in high school was for band when we went to Six Flags Amusement Park.
One of my favorite memories at JT is when we won grade wars.
Now to get us started, here's our principal, Mr. Lipinski.
Thank you. Welcome graduates, parents, staff, and guests. Today we have gathered in an innovative and new way to celebrate the successes and achievements of our John Taylor graduates over the past school year and to recognize the culmination of your high school experience with your graduation. Graduation marks a significant achievement for us all. For teachers, it marks the end of another successful year of sharing knowledge, challenging ideas and thoughts, and inspiring you to be excellent, caring, and grateful. For parents, it highlights that our children are no longer the little ones that we have loved and guided for so many years. They are now stepping into the adult world. For graduates, today represents the end of one journey where many of your decisions were made for you. Tomorrow is the beginning of a new journey where you will show your independence and spread your wings and assume more responsibility for yourself. And now for the principally wisdom. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. When Aristotle wrote those words, he could have been speaking of our mantra, Piper Pride, that we, the John Taylor Collegiate students and staff, hold dear to our hearts. Excellence can be defined in many ways, and however one defines excellence, it is important to keep in mind that it is not a project, act, or job description. Excellence is a way of life. It includes going beyond the normal call of duty, stretching our perceived limits, and holding ourselves responsible for being our personal best. Excellence comes from striving, maintaining the highest standards, paying attention to little details, and being willing to go the extra mile. When we stretch beyond our comfort zones, go beyond our limits, and challenge ourselves to learn and experience new things, while still being true to who we are striving for excellence. Throughout your time at John Taylor, you have grown and have continued to develop the key character traits that will help you succeed in anything that you do. You have taken on many challenges thrown your way, opting to overcome the barriers rather than taking the easy way out and giving up. You have set lofty goals with the knowledge that success would come only with hard work. As a result, you have achieved a great deal, including your high school graduation. You have achieved personal excellence. Keep this in mind as you continue to raise your personal bar and set even greater goals. Pursue your own excellence. You will be on the road to realizing your dreams. I challenge you to dream big. One of the great dreamers of all time, Walt Disney, once said, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." I encourage you, our graduates, to find your inner spark, your personal strength, and your commitment to self, to be courageous and to chase your dreams, create your reality to always personify excellence. Now, graduates, as we celebrate you, remember, work hard, strive for personal excellence, remember the friendships you cultivated here at John Taylor and the caring you experienced, and above all, remember Piper Pride. Congratulations, graduates. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce your valedictorian, Charlotte Ann Rotchuk.
Good afternoon, staff, students, friends, family, and above all, this year's Piper graduates. My name is Charlotte Ann Rotchuk, and I am honored to be your 2020-2021 valedictorian. For years I've dreamt about this day, standing in front of you all, recognizing and celebrating the hard work we put in and memories we made in our time at John Taylor Collegiate. I watched and rewatched the speeches of Rory Gilmore and Anna Kendrick in Twilight and sang along to When I Kissed the Teacher every time I watched Mamma Mia 2. However, now that the time has come to deliver the speech that I so looked forward to, I can't help but wish to relive just a few more moments. Not only because the past year and a half was far from what we expected them to be, but because the idea of walking away from all we've accomplished together tears me apart. Now, it would be very easy for me to stand in front of you, or your screen, and recite a list of what this year was missing. But if our journey through high school has taught us anything, it's that we have a lot less time than we think. Unfortunately, that didn't seem to stop any of us from waiting until the very last minute to even start our assignments. I don't think any of us really thought that high school would be the best years of our lives, like so many had told us. And for a great many of us, I'm sure such years are still to come. However, this does not take away from all of the joy we experienced during our time at John Taylor. From the start of grade 9, we made it clear that we intended to make JT our home. And after bonding through events like the Piper Midnighter and grade 9 camp, each of us slowly found friends who can now be called family. For 4 years, we showed endless enthusiasm and teamwork during grade wars, which we'll swear we won every time. Cheered on our fellow classmates at Piper Classics, making sure to distract St. Paul's with our shouts of Daddy's money, and supported our community through events and fundraisers like Coats for Kids and food hamper collections. It can easily be said that our grade has never failed to be the most involved in our time at John Taylor, and there is no doubt in my mind that as we prepare to transition into a world of unknowns, every one of these attributes will help us find our footing and connect us as we go our separate ways. We saw many changes in our 4 years at John Taylor Collegiate, from a constantly transitioning administration team, endless construction, saying goodbye to wonderful and controversial teachers, and, of course, the shift into a global pandemic. However, the most amount of change can be seen in every one of us. From walking through the front doors as tiny, self-absorbed, terrified, annoying freshmen, to creeping around to the very back of the school, waiting to be escorted inside for our first day as seniors. We got taller and smarter and more stressed out. We reached out and made connections with people we may have never expected, but who ended up being the most worthwhile. We took the time to question who we are and what we believe, and within these walls, we found the people we wish to become, and were given the opportunity to grow into such a huge role. There are not enough words to give the staff at John Taylor Collegiate the thanks that they so deserve. You went far beyond teaching designated subjects or supervising us in the hallways. At my lowest moments, I knew I could count on Madame Armistead to listen through my ramblings or take me up to the greenhouse to calm myself down mid-panic attack. And I know I'm not the only one who was shocked to hear Mr. Getz crying at the end of calculus, as he told us how proud and impressed he was to see a group of girls consistently lead our class averages over the past 4 years. Without each of your guidance, none of us could be here today. Our time at John Taylor will not be remembered in yearbook pages and report cards, but relationships that may likely fade and memories plagued by distance, of at least 6 feet. Instead of grades and algebra lessons, we'll think back on all of those smashed windows, or that time, 2 times we got dismissed early and felt the relief of avoiding bio, chem, and history tests for at least 1 more day. Whatever the moment, we can be sure we experience them together. While we may have panicked staying past the final bell during Holden Secures and sitting in the dark during a snowstorm, it was during all of these unconventional high school experiences where we were able to connect and learn about one another. It is this unity that ties us together as a senior class. And as we look back before stepping into the abyss of adulthood, know that we will always share this spark of Piper pride that has gotten us to where we are today. Lastly, I'd like to mention one of the quotes on our John Taylor walls. Words that I was told as a new grade 9 student who simply wanted to know what the rubric for her mitosis project looked like. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. There are many circumstances where these words are meaningful and valid. I personally don't feel like the marking of assignment was one of them, but to each their own, Mr. Zalisny. It's also questionable how much it applies to our graduation. So many final high school moments were ripped away from us. Not only tournaments and final performances, but also taking our final steps together as Pipers. High-fiving each other in the hallways, looking over during class and seeing your best friend smile, speaking in front of you today. We also fought tooth and nail to carve out a senior year that we could be proud of, full of ambition and teamwork that is so uniquely ours. There are truly no words to describe how insanely pleased I am that every one of us has gotten to where we are today, no matter the countless obstacles thrown our way. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that although our journey is one that I hope stays with us forever, this destination, this graduation, is well deserved, and we should be beyond proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. You really are the best person in the entire school. I mean, really, I am in awe of your presence.
We are thankful to everyone that made the last 4 years possible.
Next, to honor them, will be Zoe with a toast to the parents, and Lauren and Karen with a toast to the staff.
Hello and thank you. I am Zoe Nagamori, and when first asked to do the speech to the parents and of my fellow graduates, I was hesitant. Of course I agreed because those who know me know that I've pushed very hard to have our graduation be as normal as possible. And whether we like it or not, these cheesy speeches are as close to what was once normalcy as possible. And yet, I was still hesitant, because as much as I appreciate everything that my parents have done for me, I have felt that I've been greatly independent these last few years, as I'm sure many of my classmates have as well. However, to get to this point of great independence, it took a multitude of people, not just my parents, to contribute to me becoming the amazing and mature person that I am today, and the amazing and mature people that my fellow graduates are. Some people like to say that we are a mosaic of the people in our lives. For many of us, the most influential pieces of our mosaic are the ones who have raised us. These are the people who have gotten us to the point where we are grown enough to move on to the next chapter of our lives. They are the ones who taught us how to have manners in early years, although it didn't stick for some. They supported us through the awkwardness of middle years, and they tolerated us through the chaos of the most recent and final years of high school. Those who know me know I have been in choir almost all my life. It is something I'm greatly passionate for and love to do. For me, it was always a way to connect with my mom. We both grew up in the same community, in the same choirs, and even with the same directors. I always knew that as I was performing, I could look up and see her in the audience. From age 5 at my very first winter concert, to age 16 at my last physical concert with divisional choir. I could always count on seeing my mom in the crowd, cheering me on. Now, she has been and will always be my rock, my cheerleader. And for that, I'm forever thankful. Now, whether it was a concert or a big game, or just being there for everyday support, we have all had someone in our corner cheering us on from day one. These are the people who helped us and supported us so much growing up, that we were able to get here. With that being said, I thank you. Thank you to all the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, siblings who taught us, and siblings who we learned from by teaching them. Any mentor that has taken us under their wings, every one of our friends' parents who has ever driven us home, those no longer with us, and those with us maybe just a little bit too much. I, on behalf of all my fellow graduates, thank you, each and every person that raised us. You are the people that got us here, to this moment, and for that, we couldn't be more grateful.
As we look back at our time at John Taylor Collegiate, we want to take a moment to thank all of the staff who have gotten us here to today. There's only one word that we can think of to describe you, and that is passionate. Each of you is devoted to JT and the student body. You supplied us with the critical knowledge and opportunities to get us to where we needed to be. You were at the school before we arrived in the morning and left after we had gone home. You've done so much for us, and we want to take a moment to show our gratitude.
You have witnessed our grade change from when we entered JT to now, as we exit our grade 12 year. As you got to know us during our time here, you found ways to continuously support us in our critical stages of our lives. You provided us with the space and resources to grow into the wonderful people we are today. You prepared us for future educational pursuits through important life lessons, stories, and advice. By supporting us, you have created a community.
One of the biggest reasons JT has felt like a nurturing community is because of our staff. You remained upbeat year-round by filling the halls with Piper pride. In every spirit day, gym blast, and school event, you always were just as involved as we were. We as the students valued your hellos in the halls, asking how we were, and your ability to stay positive during the pandemic. We also want to give a shout out to all the staff working in the office, library, support services, and behind the scenes that help their community run smoothly. We've always felt welcomed and comfortable at JT because of our smaller community, allowing us the chance to get to know everyone by name.
Some may think a small school would limit opportunities for academic growth, but our time here has proven that is not the case. We were able to have smaller classroom sizes, allowing the teachers to pour more of their energy into each individual student. We are confident that the class of 2021 will use the lessons we have learned to thrive beyond the halls of JT. This is because of all the time teachers spent creating lessons for us and EAs helping us when we got stuck. Although we did not know it at the time of choosing JT, being a small school helped us all.
We've all joined the JT community for different reasons. I thought I was going to go to a different school until I went to the John Taylor open house. After that night, I knew that John Taylor was the school for me. The teachers were so warm and friendly. Even though over the years some of the teachers have come and gone, they have all been a positive influence on our school community. It's been a great pleasure to have Mr. Lipinski as my principal for 6 years. Mr. Lipinski said farewell to me as I left Bruce Middle School, and now will be the one handing me my diploma. I am so grateful that Mr. Lipinski joined our JT family. I could not have chosen a better school to have been at for the last 4 years. JT gave me the chance to grow, make amazing friends, and learn. I had the opportunity to start a green team with my 2 closest friends and be a part of amazing clubs and sports. I have the teachers and staff to thank for my high school experience being so good the last few years. Without the staff giving their blood, sweat, and tartan, many of these opportunities would not have been possible.
Like many students who live in the area, John Taylor was my catchment school. However, even after comparing all the nearby schools, JT just felt more right for me from the start. The energy I got from the staff I met through activities and the open house made me feel happy to be in the building. I can safely say that the younger me made the right choice. I have always felt like the teachers gave me and many students the opportunities to try new things and to reach our potential, like math contests to challenge our abilities, and many clubs to widen our perspectives. I'm incredibly thankful for all that the teachers and staff have done for the entire student body, not just me, and I will really miss this tight-knit community.
As Mr. McLaughlin always says, I have been a winner my whole life. We can safely agree that the staff here are winners. You've all been so wonderful, and on the behalf of the graduating class of 2021, to all the staff of John Taylor Collegiate, thank you.
Thank you, Zoe, Lauren, and Karen.
Mr. Weeb likes to say, high school will be the best 5 years of your life. But Mr. Weeb has been in high school for 20 plus years and still hasn't peaked.
Here's Mr. Weeb with the toast to the students.
I'm honored that I was chosen to toast the grads of 2021. We're both in a very similar place in our lives. We are both leaving John Taylor and moving on to new things. We'll both need to figure out what we want to do when we grow up. However, I'll be retiring and from teaching and starting the next chapter of my life, and you are moving on to the adulting chapter of your life. But enough about you. Oh, sorry. It is about you. Sorry. Well, you graduated. Congratulations. You just finished the easy part. This has been a challenging year and a half, and the challenges will continue. You've succeeded under difficult circumstances, and now we all get to navigate whatever this new normal is going to look like. We could focus on all the things that we missed in the last while, like pep rallies and watching concerts and dramas and performing in the musicals. We missing out on the sports and the launch of the football team and the gym riots. And while we've missed a lot, we can still look at these years and look at and find some really great stuff and lessons that we learned. We learned that, even for me, an introvert, Live personal interaction is really important. We've also found ways that we can be quite creative to find humor in some difficult times. Like, for example, I've learned that the grads have made a JT pandemic bingo card. And how many of you were able to actually get a blackout? I have to say that when I looked at the bingo card, I saw my name on it, and I was both, honored and very disappointed and hurt. I mean, could you please spell my name correctly? Spell it right! Okay, you've all been yelled at. You get to check off that box. But using that as my theme, we're going to do a little bit of grad pandemic bingo. Let's start with an easy one. Under the B. Beat Shemmy to class. I think we all beat Shemmy to class. Or anywhere for that matter. Shemmy's never in a rush. Or if he is, you would never notice. He's even slow to log into class when it's remote. In fact, if we had to do this under normal circumstances in a church, we would probably have to book the church for an extra half hour just so he could just make it across the stage. So that's under the B. Under the I. Started every school day with a coffee and a donut. Any of you? Brooke Medalinos would probably be the only one to get this square. Okay? Coffee and donuts was a requirement for her. She never started the day without it. Under the N. Talked about fishing with Paul. Well, if you've talked to Paul at all, Paul Gee, you will probably be talking about fishing. I mean, that's what he talks about. He talks about fishing. And Paul is heading off east to New Brunswick to go to school, and I'm pretty darn sure we're going to find him somewhere on an episode of The Deadliest Catch. Under the G. Pandemic has caused this huge rush on pets. And so everybody has probably adopted a pet. Everyone's got a dog or a cat or a extra credit if you got a pig, Zoe. And for me, I love bacon far too much, and so I wouldn't have a pet pig for very long. Under the O, houseplants. Houseplants, oddly enough, have been very common as well, especially amongst the younger crowd. Me, I just grow my tomato plants, but houseplants. And if you have a houseplant and named it, you can check off that box too. How about if you have like over a dozen plants and names for all of them? And I think the count is closer to 20. And I think only Charlotte can really check off that box. I don't know how many she has and how she remembers all their names, but she does. And it's a good thing she's planning on going into biology, because there's a lot of names to remember. All right, let's go back under B. Under B, got a concussion playing volleyball. Now, I know volleyball is a non-contact sport, and I'm pretty darn sure that there's a net that separates you from the opposition, but if you're Jordan Kennedy and Mr. Precourt is your coach, you may get a ball to the face. And so I'm thinking that maybe the pandemic is actually a good thing. Saved our girls' volleyball team. Under the I, used a math project to plan a bank heist. So Karen, Lauren, and Ashley actually used GMAX class, and I don't know how that happens, but anything can happen in GMAX class. And so if they use GMAX class to plan a bank heist as a math project. They also drove all the way to Portugal Prairie to take a picture of a Coke can, and I don't understand that one. One last one, under the N. Turned your class into an episode of Card Talk. See, these A to L, M to Z splits made for some interesting mixtures of students, and probably the most interesting was Ms. Peters' Western Civ class. It was a class of boys that always hijacked the conversation into a discussion on debates about cars. And that's just a few of the squares on our bingo card, and I've only got a limited amount of time. But on a more serious note, whether you got A's or C's and D's, according to Martin Luther King Jr., intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. That is what your teachers, parents, and caregivers have been trying to get you to understand. School is not just about your grades. Grades only get you so far. Developing a strong character and living a life of integrity are in the long term more important. MLK also said that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Never give up. There will be challenges and roadblocks, but press on towards your goal. Remember what I said about character. From a science teacher's perspective, we've learned a lot in the last 4 years. Our understanding about the world is constantly changing, and as we acquire more information, science is a constant striving for truth. That constant striving means that we may not get it right the first time, or the second, or, well, you know. But like Thomas Edison, the inventor, said, "I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." We must continue to strive for success and understanding and not be deterred by the things that won't work. Because from my experience, that happens, and more often than we may like. But I've always said to my students, it is in those times we learn the most. Don't waste your failures. Use them for opportunities to learn. Nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. With risk come failures, but those failures get us one step closer to success and character. Remember to always listen. You can learn a lot when you listen and you take a break from talking. It's physically impossible to listen with your mouth open. And this year's been difficult, so learn how to talk to people. Remember, there is always something to learn from the people you meet. Take every opportunity to learn. Put your devices down and look at people. It's amazing how much you learn when you look at people's faces. And this can be time of uncertainty. Some of you have clear goals and others not sure. And if you haven't found that one thing that you're going for, keep looking and don't settle. As Nelson Mandela said, we should never settle for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living, and you're all capable of great things. So, let's toast the grads of 2021. We are proud of you, and may you continue to make your world a better place. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Wiebe, and enjoy a well-deserved retirement.
The John Taylor Vocal Jazz will be singing Seasons of Love from Rent, featuring solos from this year's graduating students.
Measure a year in daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter and strife. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? 600 minutes, 525,000 journeys to plan. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure the life of a woman or a man? In truths that he learned, or in times that she cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died. It's time now to sing out, though the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember a year in the life of friends. Remember the love. Oh, you got to remember the love. You know that love is a gift from above. Share love, give love, spread measure love, measure your love in love. Seasons of love, measure your love, measure your love in love.
Thank you to all who supported our 2021 graduates throughout their journey of school.
We wish our fellow graduates all the best as we go our separate ways and move on to the next stages in life.